Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today I have the pleasure to talk about Chanel Allure Homme Edt from 1999, and this is the one that started the whole Allure Homme line. But personally, I feel that it's fair to say that this is probably not the reason why it got as popular as it did, because this is I think that this gets overshadowed by other fragrances from this line, such as what is it? Allure Homme Sport, O Extreme, and the Edition Blanche flankers, which all are very good in my opinion. But I still feel that this is probably my favorite from the whole line. And like I said, I do think that this doesn't get the same amount of recognition and attention as those others do and did. Maybe this line is not as popular anymore as it used to be at some point because, things change. The whole perfume culture or the influencer culture has changed quite a lot of things. And we can maybe talk about that at some point because I do have my own thoughts and opinions about it. But today I want to focus on this. So this I do really enjoy this, although I do have to say that I find it slightly difficult to try to describe, or I've always found it difficult to share my thoughts on this because it's such a well blended fragrance that nothing really stands out from it, but I mean it all in a good way, that it's just a very enjoyable, very pleasant smelling perfume, and it's not loud, and like I said, there isn't anything like particular that it's known for or known of. But I still feel that it's a very nicely done perfume that kind of mixes somewhat of an woody aromatic style of perfume, and there is even certain like almost barbershop fougere elements or qualities in this perfume, to me at least. Sometimes I do get a little bit more of them and sometimes maybe not. But anyway, I do think that it's still there as well. Um, this to me is, I've been wearing it today and I can, still smell it on my arm. But what I feel that this perfume mostly to me is that it's a very, very fresh, especially in the opening 5, 10, 15 minutes part. You get a lot of citrus in it, or I get a lot of citrus fruits in with this, probably all kinds of like sweeter, juicy citrus fruits, but it mixes very well with this kind of fresh spiciness that this one has, and mostly because of ginger and pepper, probably some kind of like leaning more to the fresher side of a pepper, but that something that is just giving a little bit more sharper bitterness and bite to the fragrance with the ginger, as I said. And it really mixes well together with that like sharper bitter element, with those, in this case, in my opinion at least, like sweeter, chewy citruses that I get with this one. So it's a very, very nice, fresh. I mean, the overall feeling is very clean, but I do get this kind of like very fresh, very bright opening with this perfume that is just a nice kind of, it wakes you up nicely when you wear and when you spray this perfume. But also, like I said, it already, to me at least, has a little bit of that certain like barbershop fougere element to it as well, because especially later on there is I do get quite a lot of lavender with this, even though the lavender is more or less this like a faint lavender smell. But there's also this kind of creaminess to this fragrance, especially in the dry down, and the creaminess is also that the woods that I get with this, like rosewood and maybe sandalwood, they are quite creamy as well, but also there is this soft vanillic, even like maybe tonka mix that is just giving like comforting, almost sensual feel to the fragrance. Not that it necessarily anything of those makes it in any way sweet at any point, because I would never call this perfume sweet, like as a perfume in any way. Maybe there is certain like sweeter elements here and there, but of course that's what basically every perfume has at some point. But to me, like I said, there is no way that I would describe this perfume as a sweet fragrance. But like I said, sensual, warmer, mm, and just comforting smell what I get from the dry down with this one. And I do think that I remember somewhere reading that this probably has some kind of coconut in there. And I don't smell that, and I really don't like the smell of coconut that much. But I think that can also be what makes this slightly creamy as well. And the same way as, for example, in Chanel's Egoist, there is sandalwood and rosewood, and those to me are making that fragrance also a little bit creamy. So I feel that that same kind of element is in here as well, even though it doesn't smell like Egoist. But I feel that probably that element is present in this one as well. And I really enjoy everything that I get out of this perfume. But that's pretty much all I get with this. I really enjoy this, and I think that it's a definition of an understated elegance, I would say. And yeah, I mean, I guess that it's a little bit sad that this doesn't get more attention and people don't talk about this. But at the same time, those who know, they know, and more for us, I guess, because you really don't smell. I haven't probably smelled this ever here in the streets of anywhere in Finland. So you definitely, not necessarily that you have to stand out, but at least you don't smell like everyone else if you are wearing this. And it's a great fragrance for somebody, in my opinion at least. It's a great fragrance for somebody who wants one fragrance that you can wear year round, that you don't have to think too much when or where you can wear it. And like I said, that you will not be smelling like everybody else, but it will just make you feel grown up and adult person, I would say, if that makes sense. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I can say with this perfume. Really a big fan of this. Like I said, the whole line is great. Let me know your thoughts if you have smelled this fragrance, or if you are a fan of this as well. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye bye.